24. The time is 9:30 a.m. I would like to introduce Pastor Aprilii Osborne. If I said that wrong, please correct me. For the invocation, everyone please stand. Thank you.
Good morning. Before we begin our prayer, I would like to ask for a moment of silence in honor of Megan Bowman. She was with us here for 4 years, serving with Lee County Port Authority, and for Janice Greenwell, our beloved sister of the Commissioner Mike Greenwell. These women touched our lives, making this world brighter. So let's take a moment and give thanks for their life. I thank you, Jesus, for this a beautiful opportunity that we get to gather together, Father, as leaders into this community, into the Port Authority, as decisions are made here today. I thank you, Father, for the opportunity, for humble hearts that we come before you. I thank you, Father, that we just dedicate this city to you, Jesus. We dedicate these lives. Father, we just pray, Father, for the families of Megan and Janice, that your comforter would comfort them, Father. Comfort their hearts, comfort their children, comfort their families, Lord. I thank you, Father, that your presence is in this meeting here today. Father, we come into an agreement with Isaiah 62 that this is a city dedicated to you, and that you have watchmen on the walls of this city, Father. And I thank you, God, for these men and women that have gathered together here as watchmen on the walls, protecting our city, making decisions for her. Such a beautiful place. What an honor it is that we get to serve our community, to serve the Port Authority, Father. I thank you, God, for the spirit of wisdom and revelation, Father, on the decisions that are made here today. I thank you, Father, that you are bringing in all the right leaders that you want in our city and in this area, Father, and that you're keeping all the wrong ones away. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
All right, please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. All right, so at this time, I would like to acknowledge our Port Authority Director, Ben Siegel, and present him with a retirement resolution. So I guess I will go to the podium that's up there to read. We need bigger letters. A resolution honoring Benjamin R. Siegel. Whereas Executive Director Ben Siegel will be retiring from Lee County Port Authority effective April 1st, 2024. And whereas he has served more than 32 years of public service as citizen of the citizens of Southwest Florida, providing leadership, exceptional knowledge, in every aspect of the airport management that has enabled Southwest Florida International Airport, RSW, and Page Field in Lee County, Florida, to become two of the finest airports in the country, all while providing strategic planning and clear direction for our continued success. And whereas Ben Siegel has played an instrumental role in the growth of development of both airports, including the airport being renamed and rebranded the Southwest Florida International Airport to reflect its emergency international status, the runway extension to 12,000 feet, funding the construction of the Midway Terminal Complex, and the largest public works project in Lee County history. The runway of 6 of 24 rehabilitation project, a first for a single runway airport, a new aircraft rescue and firefighting station, Skyplex development and marketing, a new airport traffic control tower without FFA funds, another first in the nation, the start of construction for the terminal expansion project and the planning and funding to start Concourse E, as well as overall transformation of the Page Field to include Page Field Commons, airport land leases, and the construction of base operations and several new multi-use hangars, a new flight school, and the funding and construction of new hangars, tie downs, and a general aviation center in South Quad. And whereas he has contributed to the success of both airports, winning many Federal Aviation Administration, Florida Department of Transportation, and State of National Industry Awards through the years for operations, safety, environmental, innovation, development, customer service, and more. Whereas Ben Siegel has celebrated many milestones, anniversaries, and completed projects, enhancements, and air service announcements, including annual passenger traffic growth of Southwest Florida International Airport from nearly 3.5 million passengers in 1992, more than 10 million in 2023, and becoming one of the top 50 airports in the United States for passenger traffic and page fill growing from 91,000 air operations in 92 to more than 203,000 in 2023. And whereas he has dedicated his profession excellent in airport management, exceptional leadership, positive attitude, tireless work to promote Southwest Florida International Airport to airlines and business partners, as well as outstanding loyalty to the Lee County Port Authority, will be greatly missed. And whereas the Board of Port Commissioners and Airport Special Management Committee of Lee County, Florida, wish to honor him upon the occasion of his retirement. Now therefore be it resolved by the Lee County Board of Port Commissioners, Benjamin R. Siegel is hereby commended and honored for his outstanding contributions and dedication and service to Lee County Port Authority. Ben Siegel hereby wish good health and an enjoyable retirement to those and richly deserved.
Amen.
All right.
Congratulations.
Well done, Mike.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, if I may, I'd like to say a few words. I figured maybe for 32 years.
Get 3 minutes.
3 minutes. I'll
Start the
talk
lights,
fast,
please.
but I promise it's not going to be long. I also
32
promise.
years, Ben, you do whatever you want.
I promise also to tell you that it's very much from the heart. So I've really enjoyed my time here. And first, I just want to thank you, Mr. Chairman and Board, for allowing me the few minutes. What I did was I wrote it down so I don't ramble, and I know everybody's time is valuable, so I want to keep it very focused. And so I just wrote down all my notes, and I can assure you that when I started my journey here, I really never imagined how far I'd come, and really how much we'd accomplish together, or how much we'd grow together. Finishing my career at the Lee County Port Authority in this current position, I truly do believe it comes from being part of such a really incredible team. I could not have imagined all the success that we would have. I can't tell you enough what a privilege and an honor it's been to be part of this organization. I basically grew up here. This organization provided me with so many opportunities, and I will always be grateful for that. To the employees of the Lee County Port Authority, I just want to say you all are amazing. Really, truly amazing. I don't think you really know how special you really are. You've all done so much together, really too much to list. Everything that we call RSW and Page Field today, many of us have our fingerprints all over. Has it been perfect? Of course not, but it's just been one success story after another. You all should be proud of what we've done and what you will continue to do well into the future. Our success is because of you all. Don't ever forget that. To our Airport Special Management Committee, I can't thank you enough for all your professionalism, guidance, and support over the years. It has made me better. You simply have been a pleasure to work with, and I just want you to recognize how valuable your input and unwavering support has been, not just to me, but the entire team. I know it will continue to be instrumental in the success of our airports, and I just want to say thank you for all you do for the Lee County Port Authority and Lee County. To our senior leadership team, Mark, Emily, Brian, Vicki, Steve, and our new Chief Human Resource Officer, Bonnie. Here she is. I'm going to introduce you later. Yeah. You've all been a blessing to work with. Not a day has gone by when I haven't thought about how lucky I am to come to work every day and work with you all. You are true professionals with extraordinary talents and award-winning leaders in our industry. We're lucky to have you. It's been an absolute privilege to work with you, and thanks for being part of our team now and into the future. Mr. Wesh.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
It's being recorded.
You may not know this, but you were incredibly instrumental in my transition to the executive director, and you've been a great business partner of the Lee County Port Authority, not to mention a great friend of mine. I can't thank you for all you and your team have done, and for all you've done in terms of being our legal guardians and supporting our team in the best possible way you know. We truly have made a great team, and I've always felt privileged to work with you and all of the attorneys in your office. Hopefully, you believe I was a good client and listened well when I needed to. So thank you, Richard.
It was an honor. Thank you.
Yeah. Kelly, there you are, Kelly. I wouldn't be standing here right now if it wasn't for Kelly, I can assure you. She told me exactly where I was supposed to be, when, and pretty much every day of my life. You kept me straight, and I always mean always going in the right direction, on top of things, and kept me literally on top of my game. I'm always grateful for you, your positive attitude, your can-do attitude, and your infectious, happy personality that you bring to work every single day. You're the best, Kelly. Thank you for all you've done. You're a very, very special person. To our board, and I speak to the board as a whole, but I also speak to you all individually, that it has been just an absolute honor and privilege being your executive director. I can't thank you enough for having, for having the confidence and trust in me to lead your airport team at the highest level. You know, my daughter cries all the time. She cries enough for us, for the entire organization, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, she's 23 years old and cries like you won't believe. I thought I'd be fun. Your leadership and guidance, vision, and true understanding of what we do is instrumental in our success, and I can speak on behalf of all of our employees that we appreciate your dedication to our airports and Lee County as a whole. Your airport team is award-winning and has always done the best they can to provide the community a world-class airport. I'm so proud and grateful to have been part of this team for all these years. Mr. Fisher, you and I were just kids when we started. We started working together 32 years ago. You started before me and will continue. LCPA is lucky to have you like so many others. You have been a leader in this organization, and much of the success of this organization comes from your leadership. We solved the world's problems, I don't know how many times. Honestly, I think I lost track. Our debates were the best. The competitive juices would keep them going on forever, and sometimes I know we typically forgot what we were even debating. That's a fact. Your guidance, strategic thinking, and after our conversations, and most importantly, our friendship, I will always be grateful for. I love you, Mark. Thank you. And lastly, and of course not least, my wife, Jan. Where are you? There you are. I'm sorry. I'm going to be around more.
Sorry for that.
Oops.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. See, I'm already apologizing. I'll try to stay out of the way, but the learning curve may take a while. Remember, I can be trained. All it takes is some treats and occasionally telling me I'm a good boy. Seriously, I can't tell you how perfect you've been for me and our family. Your unconditional love and support are amazing, and I could not have achieved what I have without you. I love you, honey, and thank you for being here today. As I move on to the next chapter of my career, just know it comes with very, very mixed emotions. Though I'm excited about what the private sector opportunities are, I will forever be grateful to the Lee County Port Authority and all the people I've worked with. I hope I left this place a little better than it was when I got here. I can assure you I'm a much better person than when I got here. I will forever be thankful. I can't wait to watch the organization's continued success from the outside, looking in, and remember that I will always be cheering you on and wishing you all nothing but the best. Godspeed and thank you.
Congratulations, Ben. That was very well spoken up there. Awesome. All right, so at this time, we will move on to the consent agenda. Commissioner Pendergrass, do you have any items to pull for discussion?
None.
Commissioner Sendelli?
None.
Commissioner Hammond?
I have none.
Commissioner Rain?
I have none.
And I have none. Okay, if there are no public, okay, so there are no, is anyone wish to speak on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment.
I'll move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Hammond, a second from Commissioner Rain. Any objections? Seeing none, unanimous decision 5-0. We'll move on to administrative agenda. I recognize the Executive Director, Ben Siegel, to introduce item number 13.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd ask Mr. McGonigal to further explain item number 13 regarding an airline use agreement with JetBlue.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. Good morning, everybody. Brian McGonigal. Number 13 is requesting the board approve a new airline airport use agreement with JetBlue Airways. If you recall, back last month, we had 7 agreements to you, and this is the last one, so we're real pleased. We have all 8 signed up for 10 years. Do you have any? I can highlight if you like again, but it's exactly like the other 7, so it's a good thing.
Second.
Yep.
Okay, we have any questions for staff at this time? Do we have any public comment? Okay, seeing no public comment, I will close public comment. We had a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Rain. Any objections? All right, seeing no objections, item 13 passed unanimous. Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 14.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Item 14 requests the board approve a ground lease for the development of a cold storage facility here at RSW, and I'd ask Mr. McGonigal to further explain that item as well.
Yeah, thank you. Number 14, this is, like Ben said, a development of a cold storage facility here at RSW with RSW Cold Storage LLC. They are proposing to build a 150,000 square foot frozen, refrigerated and frozen cold storage facility serving both air cargo and non-air cargo customers. This is on the north side where the old terminal was, right on the west side of that pavement. It is 14 acres. It's 150,000 square feet. I said that. It is a 40-year lease, proposed 40-year lease with 2 5-year extensions that could go to 50. It's depending on FAA approval. If FAA approval happens, they'll have development period rent of $9,200 per month, and after DBO, it will be $46,295 per month with incremental CPIs throughout. We're real excited about this. If you recalled Cushman and Wakefield's presentation, a cold storage facility was earmarked as a catalyst project. So we think we're real excited about this. It's right where it's in a good location. We're real excited about it. So we've been working with this firm for close to 3 years now, talking to them. And RSW Cold Storage is backed by the Caris Group out of Naples, and they have cold storage facilities across the country. questions.
Any questions or this time, commissioners?
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. I will ask for any public comment on item 14. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Again, we have a motion from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections?
No objection to that. I'd just like to say that being involved in commercial real estate statewide, cold storage has always been at the forefront. It's a difficult product to deliver, because the use can be very much, we've talked in the briefing about some options that I've found throughout the state, and so I'm excited about this, and I think it's going to be a huge piece going forward.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just second that as well. I mean, kudos to the team, that's a big deal to have one of the things that was identified as a potential catalyst come
Yes.
through is fantastic.
All right, any other comments? No? All right, we had a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? No objections. Item 14 passed unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 15.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 15, request the board accept a state grant in the amount of $2.5 million from the Florida Department of Transportation for the South Quad Hangar Project at Page Field, and Ms. Underhill will further explain this item.
Yes, good morning, everyone. For the record, Emily Underhill. This item is seeking approval to accept an FDOT fiscal year 23-24 grant to be used for eligible costs under the Page-Filled Ramp and Hangar project that is currently under construction and is expected to be completed in the fall of this year. The project adds 81 hangars, a rehabilitated and expanded aircraft parking ramp, and a new general aviation center to the airport. Port Authority staff continues to work with FDOT to program additional funds to reduce the Port Authority's costs associated with this project. This money supplements prior grants that were previously received. This brings FDOT's participation to date totaling $5.5 million. Staff recommends approval accepting this grant in the amount of $2.5 million.
Any questions, commissioners, for staff at this time?
I'll move the item.
I'll second it.
All right. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Rain. I will open up public comment. Anyone wish to make comment on item number 15? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Again, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Rain. Any objections? Any further discussion? No? Unanimous, 5-0. Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 16.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 16 requests the board authorize a contract with Half Acre for construction management services related to our public safety building here at RSW. And I would ask Ms. Underhill to further explain this item.
Alrighty. Recently, in January this year, the board selected Half Acre Construction as a successful CMGC firm to provide construction management and general contracting services for a new public safety building at RSW to house various airport police department and emergency operations functions. Since then, staff has successfully negotiated a contract and initial task under a contract amendment to perform pre-construction services during the remainder of the design, and at the conclusion of the design, bid management services. Staff therefore recommends that the board authorize execution of this contract and a contract amendment to include the first task in the amount of $119,804.
Any questions for staff at this time, commissioners?
I'll move the item.
Second?
Okay. All right, so we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Rain, a second from Commissioner Hammond. I will open up for public comment. Does anyone have any public comment at this time? Seeing none. Again, we have a motion to approve Commissioner Rain, second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? Seeing none. Item moves approved for 5-0. Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 17?
17. Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 17 requests the board approve the repairs of RSWA Taxiway F in accordance with the Lee County Purchasing Manual. We had some emergency repairs that needed to take place, and if Ms. Underhill could further explain that item. Thank you.
Taxiway Foxtrot, or Taxiway F, is a 12,000-foot long section of asphalt pavement that parallels our single runway. It is a critical section of the airfield as it is located in between the runway and the terminal apron area. Since its original construction in 2004, various segments of the taxiway have experienced pavement distresses that have resulted in needed repairs. For example, in the fall of 2015, emergency repairs were made to a segment of taxiway F pavement between taxiway connectors F8 and F9. Unfortunately, last spring, another depression was discovered in the same general location near the 2015 distress. After investigation by one of the Port Authority's consultants, it was advised that this section of taxiway be closed to aircraft until the pavement could be restored. In order to minimize operational impacts, particularly seasonal traffic, emergency design and construction remedies were initiated. Construction repairs were done by Owen Ames Kimball, OAK, one of the Port Authority's continuing construction manager general contracting firms. The pavement reconstruction and injection grouting repairs were successfully completed in early November. In accordance with Port Authority purchasing manual procedures, staff seeks after-the-fact approval of these investigation, design, and construction costs in the amount of $608,467.
Any
move item.
questions this time?
Move the item.
I'll second it.
Okay. We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. I will open up for public comment. Does anyone wish to speak on item number 17? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Any further discussion?
Just, happy to hear for clarification purposes. So it sounds like there was some investigation done into maybe what is causing the depression and, some steps taken to prevent more in the future, or?
Yes, we basically repaired two 30 by 40-foot sections where we did a full depth reconstruction. So we took out all the subgrade, the base, and the asphalt and replaced it. And it's just that this area is very prone to those vertical erosions taking place. So we believe that that contained that area for now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions, staff? Okay. All right, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any objections? Seeing no objections, item number 17 moves unanimously. Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 18.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 18 requests the board to authorize a contract amendment with Suffolk Construction in the amount of $9,367,126 to perform CMGC services associated with Terminal Expansion Phase 2. And I would ask Ms. Underhill to further explain that item.
An enabling item of work towards the upcoming Phase 2 terminal expansion, which includes a new 14-gate Concourse E facility, has recently been designed and finalized, allowing Suffolk Construction, the board-selected construction manager general contractor, to complete pre-construction services and successfully bid the project. The scope of this project allows Concourse D gates to be relocated, particularly D2 and D4, during a 6-month period from April of this year through November, in advance of the balance of the work anticipated to start later this fall. Staff asks that the board first endorse the contract amendment in the amount of $9,367,126 to provide for the Concourse D gate reconfigurations, and secondly, approve a total project budget in the amount of $13,033,887.
Any questions for staff at this time?
Move the item.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the item 18 from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. I will open up for public comment. Does anyone wish to make comment on item number 18? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. Again, we had a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Hammond. Any further discussion? Any objections? Seeing none, item 18 moves unanimously. Mr. Siegel, please introduce item number 19.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 19 requests the board authorize a contract amendment with Atkins North America in the amount of $516,000 to perform CA services related to the Concourse D gate relocation. And I'd ask Ms. Underhill to further explain that item as well.
Agenda item 19, is related to the previous item. Under this contract amendment, Atkins, the engineer of record for the Concourse D gate reconfiguration, has completed the design effort and will work cooperatively with the construction manager general contractor Suffolk to perform various design-related assistance and quality assurance testing throughout the construction duration. Staff requests that the board authorize the contract amendment in the amount of $516,676.58, which provides for the needed construction administration services during construction activities.
Any questions for staff at this time, Commissioner?
Move the item, Mr. Chairman.
I'll second it.
We had a
I have a question.
motion to Move the item from Commissioner Rain, a second from Commissioner Sandelli. At this time, I'll open up for public comment. Any comment on item number 19? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment. We
Chairman,
have-
I have a
Yes, sir,
question.
I'm sorry.
I have a question for staff. Emily or Ben, I don't know if you- what measures do we have in place to make sure that performance to complete this project to the end is going to be there for Atkins based upon the current issues we're having with them?
Emily, did you want to?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part of the question.
What measures do we have in place to make sure they perform based upon the contract and make sure everything's completed based upon what's here, based upon what's happened over the last couple of years with Atkins?
Okay. We have staff, you know, that ensure the contract is enforced. We will be paying close attention to make sure that they perform all their duties pursuant to this contract amendment. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I mean, I was confident with Sulpic. I was just concerned about Atkins. That's why I was making sure that they complete the project. So,
Yes, we will be closely watching them for sure.
okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions for staff? Okay, at this time, Commissioner Rain had motion to approve, a second from Commissioner Sandelli. Any objections?
I object to it.
I object as well. Motion approves 3-2.
Okay.
All right, that concludes the administrative agenda. We have no walk-on items. Moving to commissioner items, Commissioner Pendergrass, do you have any commissioner items?
I do. I'd like to like to little shout out here to Ben for everything. I know we're moving fast today and everything. I just want to thank Ben and his wife for your 32 years of here. I mean, and we've all been here for a long time in different roles and stuff. And I will tell you, of the last 30, 40 years being involved in the community and everything, when I think of RSW, you know, two names always popped out, and Ben was always one of the top ones there. So, Ben, thank you again for everything you've done. Everything you said, like you said, you left your footprint in this airport, literally. So, thank you for everything you've done for the Port Authority. This guy worked day and night for us over the last 30 years. No matter where I went in the community, even my old roles in the police department, Ben was always there, and he was always the happy, good face with always had a answer to the question. Anything to do with the airport, Ben knew what was going on. So again, thank you for your dedicated life here, because you dedicated your life to the airport. So thank you again for your.
Thank you.
That's all I have as far as the commissioner item, and then we truly will miss you.
And I think we all feel the same way. So, Commissioner Sandelli, do you have any commissioner items?
No, I do not, except I would like to, again, thank Ben for everything. It's been a pleasure. I was hoping to get a new guy that was a little bit shorter, but.
He's got the hair going on now. What's left of it? You'll see what happens after another 32 years.
And I think the most important thing is, as the leader of this collective team who we all respect, I mean, you've done a fabulous job. We're very proud every time we fly in and out of this airport because of you and the team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Hammond, you have any items?
You know, I would like to echo the comments of everybody else and just say, you know, we're gonna miss you, Ben. We're gonna miss you around here, like Cecil said, you know, Commissioner Pendergrass said, you're synonymous with the airport, you know, and you know, I think you had a great, when you came in, we gave you the task of communicating with the board more and bringing the board into the decision-making process even deeper than we were previously, and you exceeded all those expectations. I mean, the communication and just the fact that we feel like we're really part of the strategy and the policy making, that's due to the effort that you made to really help grow that relationship. And so thank you, Ben, for what you did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hammond. Commissioner Ray?
Sure. I'd be remiss if I didn't do the same, but Ben, it's been an honor, and honestly, really, the thing that always sticks out in my mind is the conversation we had, obviously, when you were getting promoted to permanent executive director, and you and I were going over your contract, and the discussions we had, you more than exceeded the expectations I had as a new commissioner, but certainly the privilege of giving you the contract was mine, and I thank you for everything you've done for us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
I have one more comment.
Yes,
My wife's name is Jan. My term ends in November. So Jan, if you could save some comments, what this transaction is like, or transition is like, my wife would appreciate it, and maybe you'll help me.
Okay, my turn. Obviously, you've dedicated your life to this airport and to Lee County, and you should be very proud. We're very proud of you, especially graduating from North Fort Myers High School myself, as well as Commissioner Pendergrass. There's some really good people come out of North Fort Myers, really, and you are definitely one of them. And you're gonna, I want you to enjoy your retirement, even though she will kick you out pretty quick, I promise you. You will
No
find,
doubt.
you will be busy. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so, okay, at this time, there are two committee appointments today. Scott Cameron, the Collier County Representative, and Dana Carr, the Charlotte County Representative, will continue to serve on the Airport Special Management Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move the item.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Pendergrass, a second from Commissioner Rain. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion? I do not believe any public comment. So at this time, they are both approved, 5-0.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thanks,
volunteering.
Yep.
It's an honor. It's an honor to be here.
Okay, at this time, I would like to introduce the Airport Special Management Committee Chair for any comments.
Robbie couldn't be here today, so I'm the vice chair, so I'll speak on her behalf and
Great.
also on my own behalf. I just want to say thank Ben for all of the things he's done here for the airport, and it's been truly amazing. He's really made all of us here on the Special Management Committee feel a part of the organization. And anytime you've ever called Ben to ask a question, he always gets back in touch with you. The communication has been great. He's going to be sorely missed. Hopefully he'll stay involved, and we'll see him in the community from time to time. Do any of the other members have some comments they'd like to make? Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to think about the good old days. Actually, I'm here a year longer than Ben is. When he came on, it was incredible because he was a kid. I was still a mother back then, now a grandmother. But he taught me so much about this airport because I really didn't have a lot of knowledge. And he taught me so much. But I go back to the years when you were doing the noise ordinances and the taxi cab, the blue suits from Detroit, and the little taxi man that I know I was chairman, remember, and we had to bring the police in. Those were the good old days. when the
Did he
police
bring
would
music?
come.
Did he have a music? He used to
Yeah.
bring, or something.
It was
Yeah.
incredible, and what he put up with at the forest and all the different places about the noise ordinance was also amazing. I'm sad today, Ben. I really, really am. And I think you know that. So congratulations and
Well, thank you, though. Appreciate
okay.
it. Thanks.
If I may, Mr.
Randy.
Chairman. Of course, Ben was thrust into this job kind of like that. And the challenge that he faced, and then the COVID, and just everything that's happened during his watch. I just can't imagine how anybody else would have rose to the challenge the way Ben has done and becomes, I mean, he always was professional, but just takes care of all of us like a daddy. You know, I mean, I feel so comfortable when he's here, and I'm just so sad that Ben's leaving. And I've served under 3 executive directors, and Ben by far exceeded everything else the others did during my term. And I just wish you all the luck and prosperity in the future. And I echo that we hope we still see you in the community
You will.
because we love you.
You will. And I appreciate that. And I plan to stay very well
That's from the
connected
heart.
to the community. So,
Well, I can't add a lot to what everybody said, and I don't wish to repeat it, other than to tell you how personally I've enjoyed our relationship.
Mhm.
You've taught me a lot. You've always been there when I had questions and or guidance, and I do appreciate that. And I do wish you the best,
thank you.
whatever you choose to do. And if there's any way I can help you, just let me know.
I will. Thank you.
Scott?
it's hard to add anything to the accolades that have been reflected here this morning, but I just want to say that it's been such a pleasure. The world is a better place for you, and your communication skills and your operational skills and your management skills have gone so far to advance the mission of this airport and this facility and this community and this region of the country. And I thank you for what you've taught us, and your guidance has been phenomenal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes. All right. Okay, at this time, we will move to director items. Mr. Siegel, do you have any items?
I do have a few
Daddy.
comments.
Daddy.
Does that mean
Got
we can
one,
send them
Daddy.
our cell phone bills? Comments, Dad?
I was gonna ask my wife,
I
Jan,
missed
to
my
please not
opportunity.
tell Rachel, my daughter, that I teared up during this whole thing. She'll love that. But anyway, I appreciate all the comments, and
It's on tape.
it's, yeah, I know,
Daddy.
I know. First, what I would like to do is I'd like to just do one staff recognition. I'd like to introduce our new Chief Human Resource Officer, Bonnie McFarland. Bonnie, if you could stand and let everybody see who you are.
Welcome.
Bonnie joined us, yeah, we can clap now. So Bonnie joined us on February 1st and is responsible for overseeing all the activities related to employee matters at both airports. She has more than 20 years of human resource experience with a background in recruitment and retention as well as benefits and compensation. Bonnie spent more than 12 years in the school district of Lee County and 7 years with the city of Cape Coral in human resources. She is a member of the Society of Human Resource Management, International Foundation for Employee Benefit Plans, and the Florida Educational Risk Managers Association. In addition, she has a master's in business administration from the University of Arkansas in Little Rock, Arkansas, and a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from the University of Central Florida. Please join me in welcoming, Bonnie again. Thank you for being here, Bonnie. And then, Mr. Chair, I have a few other comments, just real quick. Just want to give you some updates on things for March and what's coming up. For March, RSW moved up the U.S. airport rankings to the 38th rank in terms of flights and 33rd in seats. We have almost 1.8 million seats available, which is the highest monthly total in our 41-year history. During January, over 1.1 million passengers traveled through RSW, which was an increase of 19% compared to January of 2023. This was the second best January in RSW's history. The traffic leader was Delta with 221,629 passengers. Rounding out the top 5 airlines were Southwest, American, United, and Frontier. I'm also pleased to inform you that the FAA has approved our master plan. If you remember, we went through that long 2-year plus effort, and it was approved, and the airport layout plan was approved as well. If you recall, it is our 20-year vision for RSW, and it was adopted by the board back in January of June of 2023. And after 4 rounds of extensive public outreach and public input over the 2-year period. Since June, the FAA has been working with staff reviewing the document, and as a result, formally approved the plan several weeks ago. Not only does this plan establish a roadmap for our growth and future development, but also the FAA approval makes certain projects within the plan eligible for federal and state funding. And I just want to thank staff for all the work that went into this very critical project, and of course the board's support for our master plan. Getting that approval was a very big milestone in our airports in terms of moving forward. Lastly, I'd just like to give a quick update on our federal grants. Between June of 2023 and March of 2024, the rolling 12 months, LCPA has received more than $36.7 million in grants. $30 million has been for RSW projects, including reimbursement for the air traffic control tower, the rehab and realignment of Chamberlain Parkway, and the terminal expansion project. Pagefield South Quad hangars and ramp project has received $6.7 million. And I'm actually really excited to just inform the board that we had applied for ATP funds, the airport terminal program, which was part of the big BIL federal program project. We had applied for grants for that, and we did receive $8 million in grants from the FAA, $8 million grant from the FAA for that, which will be used for the Concourse E project, the landside work. That was just announced recently, so we were real excited about that. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Siegel, AKA Daddy. I couldn't help myself.
That's right.
I couldn't help myself. All right, at this time, we'll move to port attorney items. Mr. Welch, do you have any items?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. First, for EEOC purposes, with all due respect, Commissioner Sendelli, we do not discriminate based on height in our hiring practices.
There you go. Love that. That's a new protected class then?
It is, the new HR director is here, so I wanted to get that on the record.
We have a new one.
The good thing is every time we took a picture, I knew where to stand. It was always in front of Ben, so there's actually a methodology to it.
But, Mr. Chairman, in all seriousness, I remember when you all appointed Ben at that meeting. It was unexpected, certainly by the former port director. And Ben took the reins at that meeting and never looked back. It's been an honest pleasure working with Ben and his team. In the nature of this business, you don't always have the positive working relationship between lawyers and business people. And I consider Ben to be a business person running a government agency. He's built an outstanding team. We work very well together. I appreciate his friendship, his support. When I think of the airport, Ben has always been a fixture here. And I would just like the record to reflect that when he submitted his resignation, our office recommended against accepting it. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. Okay, at this time, I will move to public comment. Would anyone like to speak on matters that are not on the agenda? Seeing none, I will close public comment. I see no further business in front of us. We do have a workshop, but at this point, we are adjourned. Do we need a break or do we want to go right into the workshop?
That is up to you, Mr. Chair.
2 minutes.
2 minutes? 3 minutes? I gave you an extra minute. That's the kind of guy I am. I gave you extra time.
Like me to start, Commissioner? Hello, hello.
Please, you're over one. I slid over. Give me my phone. Yeah. I set back down next to my phone. It's all good.
Two big guys this time.
Yeah, you're one in the middle. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and open it up.
Yeah, good morning, Commissioners, committee members. For the record, Mark Fisher, Senior Deputy Executive Director. At this morning's workshop, similar to prior years, we'd like to discuss our capital improvement plan. With your feedback and input today, we'll incorporate the CIP project and costs into the preparation of our fiscal year 24-25 proposed budget that you'll see later this year and move forward with items discussed today. So for this morning's workshop, similar to prior years, we'll touch on RSW current and future passenger counts and projections, highlight some of the staff recommended projects that you will likely see moving forward or as agenda items for the upcoming fiscal year, with an overview of our CIP for both airports and proposed funding plans. The RSW passenger forecast this board and the FAA have approved as part of the adopted master plan looking at the next 20 years. We still feel comfortable with it based on what we know today. Those forecasts projected a little over 5 million enplanements, which equates to 10 million total passengers for calendar year 2023. And we came in just below that. All indications are that by or before 2026, we still think RSW will be close to 6 million enplanements, or a total of 12 million annual passengers. And the projects we'll discuss today are on target to meeting those levels of demand. Here are the objectives that we use when developing our CIP. As we note each year, our CIP is greatly dependent on grants from the FAA, FDOT, TSA, and other agencies, as well as user fees, such as passenger facility and customer facility charge revenues, which all have their own set of eligibility requirements, regulations, and restrictions. Not all airport projects are eligible for these funds, so many times the availability of other agency-approved funding for certain projects help that project advance, and sometimes leapfrog projects that satisfy other objectives but can only be paid for using Port Authority funds. We've been highly successful in securing other funding for capital projects, and we need to continue to be in order to keep the cost of doing business at RSW low for our airline business partners. Sorry for the small text, but that's why we have handouts. This is a snapshot of our overall capital improvement plan. It's a hefty number at $1.8 billion, with $1.2 billion over the next 5 years. And being able to afford that overall number has influence on some of the recommendations you'll hear today. In a moment, I'll highlight some of the bigger projects, and then later I'd be happy to answer any questions about any project on the CIP. This is a snapshot of our Page Field CIP, which stands at over $100 million, bringing the total Lee County Port Authority CIP to nearly $2 billion. So getting into some of the larger projects in our recommended capital improvement plan that you'll likely see over the next 12 to 24 months. First, the new Concourse E. With the new airline agreements approved by the board at the last meeting and the last one today, this has provided the funding to enable us to pivot to construct the full 14-gate concourse. The design of Concourse E is wrapping up, and we plan to be bidding the construction over the next several months. The previous cost estimate we showed you back in September was $978 million. We've made some significant cuts to the budget, and the current cost estimate is in the $857 million range. But we are still refining that number as we go out to bid, since things, as everyone knows, is still very expensive out there. We'll be bidding this spring and summer and plan to bring to you construction contracts at the September Port Board meeting so that we can begin construction in October and open the new concourse in late 2027. We have 4 rounds of planned procurement for the construction bids. 3 rounds by the Port Authority, which is required to make bids eligible for FAA grants, and 1 round of bidding by the construction manager general contractor for those portions of the project whereby federal grant funds will not be applied. The first round, which hit the streets over the weekend, is the landside roads and curbs, converting the inner vehicle lanes to ground transportation and expanding outer lanes to the public. You've seen this before in prior workshops. This is all work out in front of the existing and new terminal area, adding vehicle lanes and expanding passenger pickup and drop-off curbs. On this graphic, which depicts the front of the terminal, The main construction zone is shown there in red, and we'll need to close the current commercial lanes and route all shuttle buses and taxis through the parking garage for passenger pickup and drop-off, and that's the area shown in green. And in order to fill in the current vehicle lane gaps on the departures, the second level roadway, shown here in blue, we'll need to close the departures level to all traffic for about 3 months in the summer. So all passenger drop-offs and pickups will be on the lower level. The landside portion of work will be the most public-facing and noticeable aspects of the whole project, so a lot of coordination is planned with the media and our stakeholders that we shift operations to accommodate the needed construction. The second Port Authority bid package is the purchase of 14 passenger boarding bridges, which should be out to bid in a couple weeks. And the third Port Authority bid package will be for all the airside work, taxiways, aircraft parking ramp, aircraft fuel lines, to support the new concourse shown here bordered in purple, which will be advertised in the middle of next month. The remaining work, which is the primarily the concourse and associated terminal expansion, will be bid by our CMGC Suffolk in early May. We'll be putting a virtual reality walkthrough video on our website for the public to see to coincide with the start of construction this fall, so they know what to expect, what to look forward to. But here's some early snapshot renderings of the new terminal area and concourse. These are sort of the final renderings that you'll see. It's very similar to what you've seen before in prior workshops. The red dot, the lower left, is a view of the new ticket lobby. The blue dot is a view of the new atrium leading to the new TSA checkpoint. And in these renderings, the orange dot shows the new food and concessions courtyard post-security after you go through the TSA checkpoint. And the purple dot is a view from the new head house at the end of the concourse, which will also have concessions. Even with the budget cuts we continue to make, it's going to be a beautiful project and a very statement project for Southwest Florida. Another project high on our CIP list is the rental car expansion and relocation.
Yeah.
Sure, if you have any questions, feel free.
Can you go back?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, I recognize you're going through this, proposal and you're refining 857. What's your time frame when you're gonna actually go out to the bond market?
That is this fall, and maybe
Yes.
Brian or you want to take that?
Yeah. Time frame, Commissioner, is Mark will have bids to the board in September, and then we'll know how much to borrow. We've got the financing team lined up. So our airport revenue bonds will probably price very early October. That's the plan right now.
And with that, you'll obviously have some ballpark of what we need to buy.
But we'll have bids in hand, so they will know. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. It's not a good time to be quiet.
The rental car expansion project includes relocating the current rental car service area to the south side of the runway, expanding rental car wash, clean, fuel, and storage areas behind the parking garage, and as a result, adds a fourth level to the short-term parking garage. One aspect of the Concourse E project we have deferred are the pedestrian bridges connecting the third level of the parking garage to the terminal. These walkways aren't really needed from a capacity standpoint until sometime after 2031 and are better aligned with adding a fourth level to the parking garage so that third level covered parking patrons can have a direct walkway into the terminal. It also defers about $21 million for the Concourse E project, which helps the overall cash flow of our CIP. So these new walkways will now be done in conjunction with the parking garage expansion, not the Concourse E project that you'll see this fall. The board approved a customer facility charge for our rental car patrons to start collections late last year, and we've collected over $1 million to date. Early estimated cost of the entire project are about $230 million, and after we collect a little more CFCs, we plan to start the design later this year, and the project is estimated to be completed in 2028. The RSW Public Safety Building is at about 50% design milestone, and it's moving along nicely. It'll consist of about 10,000 square feet for our airport police department, and is expected to cost around $15 million and should be completed in early 2027. We've started the early concept planning to repave runway 624 here at RSW. We'll be working with the FAA and FDOT regarding the approach to the projects, since we will be requesting a significant amount of federal and state grant funding. And after that early planning effort and the FAA and FDOT endorsement, then we'll be coming to you to request approval to begin the actual design. We've also prepared some early concepts based on some recommendations shown in our master plan to develop an expansion to our maintenance operations, providing a new facility to consolidate our airfield and grounds crews into one location. We are in the training facility right now, which is the red dot, and so the new building there shown in blue would be on the other side of the vehicle maintenance shop right out the front door. This will provide our staff with better tools to do their job in a single location versus scattered around the airport. We'll free up some land in the Skyplex area where some of our maintenance currently resides to make that land available for future airside development, and free up space in our passenger terminal where some maintenance is housed to make available to lease to third-party tenants. We'll be coming to you later this year to competitively select a design firm and a construction manager for this project. Jumping over to FMY, Pagefield North is the original passenger terminal building built in 1974. When RSW opened in 1983, the building sat vacant for a number of years. Then the Florida Department of Law Enforcement leased a portion of the building. Since that time, much of the building has been leased by various tenants with some periods of vacancy along the way. We recently had the building assessed, and it needs about $16 million of improvements to the roof, air handling system, plumbing, electrical equipment, and various other aspects of the building. Passing along these costs to the current tenants would significantly raise their rental rates. And as demands for the airport continue to increase, this area of the airport would be better utilized for more hangars, aircraft parking, aircraft ramp, and other aviation facilities. So as such, the staff has begun working with the existing tenants, FDLE and others, about an exit plan to give these tenants time to find another home with the ultimate goal of demolishing the building when the final leases run out in 2035. Until then, the Port Authority will look to spend the least amount possible for building upkeep, while making sure its tenants have a solid roof, cool air, and a comfortable work environment, with the goal to spend a lot less, knowing the building will ultimately be demolished and that site repurposed for aviation-related uses in 2035. We have some airfield taxiways that we need repaving, so we'll be looking for some federal grants for those. And we are looking to see if there's some federal grant money to secure to expand the base op ramp for aircraft parking, the hatched area there. As far as funding plans, all projects shown are fully funded, contingent upon grants. That's the plan for RSW. Funding plan for FMY. You know, both funding plans are greatly dependent on us continuing to secure a lot of federal and state grants and dependency on PFC, CFC, and other airport collections and revenues. That's a quick overview of our overall CIP looking forward over the next 4 to 5 years. Be happy to try to answer any questions or field them if I can't.
Commissioners, at the staff, this time we have any questions for staff?
First of all, thank you very much. It's a great update. Appreciate all the work. This isn't related necessarily to our plan. The airline industry is going through a lot of flux from production needs, pilot needs, traveling passengers, you know, what's going on there. But what are we hearing from the airlines themselves as far as their forecast for the next 12, 24, 36 months?
So, Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
if I may?
please.
Yeah. They continue to be very bullish on our market, obviously, during the season. And, you know, I think if you take a look at the recent agreement that the airlines just signed with us, kind of shows their projections, if you will, for really long-term, well beyond the next few years, that the need is there for the additional gates. I mean, we're more than increasing the capacity of our facility from a gate perspective by 50%, you know, by adding 14 gates. So they continue to want, you know, show that there's a tremendous amount of demand for people coming to this market. And again, it's a seasonal demand, But as the community grows and as the business community matures, as you know is happening, we expect that it'll start bleeding into the summer as well. And the airlines are very, very bullish on this market and continue to be. So,
And Ben, my question, and thank you, I mean, I feel good about that.
yeah.
But as an industry, a lot of my friends in the aviation world, we used to live in Seattle, and the challenges for production of aircraft,
Mhm.
you know, the qualifications for pilots themselves, some of the qualifications are, I'll say, challenging, you know, and stuff like that, so you wonder who's in the cockpit. So I'm just kind of concerned about the overall health and well-being of the airline industry and how that potentially could affect us at some point. And I don't expect to have an answer.
Yeah,
Just
I
when you
don't-
talk to the carriers all the time, just
Yeah.
curious on what you're hearing.
Yeah, no, I don't have any in-depth discussions with the airlines on that particular topic. But I do have, obviously, what their projections are for here, the demand for here, and it continues to be very high, so.
I didn't know how deep they had to go for new pilots, but 75, I was outside. You don't want me up front, trust me. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'll just share my comments. I thought it was a great presentation. I appreciate on the RSW side, the trade-offs you're making with the pedestrian bridges. I think that, you know, that's a decision you have to make, wise decision there. On the Page Field side, you know, I understand exactly what you're talking about with the old terminal building, and I think it makes a lot of sense to provide a long runway, so to speak, till 2035 for folks to know. Yeah, the pun was intended. You know, I don't want to get into a scenario though where the tenants might complain a lot about the upkeep of the building. How do you handle that communication plan and that relationship?
We've already started a dialogue, particularly with FDLE. We've already had several meetings with them. They're fully aware of the desire. Again, they have the shortest term lease anyway. So again, we've already engaged in dialogue. We haven't heard any pushback, again, because it is 2035 and we're going to give them an exit plan. So again, haven't heard anything negative to date.
And like you said, we're going to keep the roof on it. We're going to keep
Absolutely.
it cool, but it may not
We're hoping
have
to,
the newest, greatest carpet or something like that.
we're hoping to take that 16 to around 5. Really helps the cash flow, between now and then. That's our goal.
Okay.
Do you have any, there's been a lot of chatter about the Naples Airport, what that is, what it potentially could be or not be, and stuff like that. Is any comments on that? I don't expect to have an answer, but I always think about how that affects us and our needs and so on and so forth, so.
Well, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman,
Mr. Siegel.
thank you. Of course, any significant changes in, that airport, especially, you have groups that want to close it, and now you've got groups that obviously, are going to push to, keep it open. Closure of that airport would be significant, to the air system in Southwest Florida. Although it's not a designated reliever airport for RSW, it does work very well within the system. Obviously, all of that traffic is going to go somewhere, and it would probably be dispersed somewhere between Page Field and RSW, and would have a significant impact on our operations here. So we're obviously not looking for Naples to figure out what they're going to do with their airport at the end of the day. So.
We'll figure it out themselves. I'm always interested in the impact it potentially could have on us.
It would have an impact, obviously. All that traffic would end up somewhere, and a lot of it would end up here.
Mr. Rain.
Ben, really just trying to understand, it's a significant expansion, obviously, with an awful lot of pieces to it, including revenue, including financing. At what point in time, as a board, are we going to get a little deeper into the semantics of this? I see it from the high level point of view, but just trying to understand where we are, what impacts we have on revenue splits. Is there any adjustments we make? Understanding, going out to the bond market, when we do that, we really don't anticipate interest rates to change until the second half, so timing is going to be crucial in that regard. And just trying to look at this, obviously, we have covenants, we have different ratios we have to hear. So I'm just trying to, the numbers look really impressive, but until you start really getting into the details, I'm, just looking at this just as anyone that would build a major situation. I'm trying to understand the layers, and I guess that's probably more of the accountant in me, looking at the financing aspect of it. How do we do this? I've leveraged an awful lot of situations in my life, but just trying to get a little deeper into, this is great at this point, but along we go along, I guess your financial experts, your bond counsel, they're gonna bring us along and we're gonna tell a little bit more of the details as we get closer to this.
And absolutely, so a lot of that information is available today. And we can certainly, that could certainly be something that is brought as part of, can be shared with the board, as much or as little as the board desires. It could be done both at in a workshop setting or just shared, individually. But we have, all of our financial projections, for our CIP, obviously, have been done, and I could let Brian, if you want to just, provide, a high level, in terms of the type of information that's available. And obviously with board direction, if there's an interest in putting this together as part of a future budget workshop that's coming up and having discussions about it at that point or separately is really, the opportunities are whatever the board desires, because the information is available to answer your question. And it's so.
Just to follow up, I mean, obviously, this is one of the largest expansions, as you can imagine. So, it's always intriguing when you go through the growth we're going through and, the revenue that we're receiving, the participation and or acceptance from the airlines.
Absolutely.
It's a significant investment. So just trying to understand the pieces, how they flow, how this cash flows, what type of strain it may or may not put on us, all those pieces. I may want to get into a little bit more details, no disrespect to anyone, but it's just the world I've operated in the last 33 years, so.
So we happy to make sure that we provide you the data that we use, and it's broken down. There's summaries, and then there's more detail, and we could start with that. And if it's something that ultimately the board would like to see, in a workshop setting, we can do that as well.
I mean, I'd love to see the information, and certainly I'd have more.
And start with that.
I mean, that would be great. I'm sure other commissioners would, and we could probably have a greater appreciation for the way you're.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really slotting and compartmentalizing every
Yeah.
aspect of the funding you're getting.
Yeah. So I'll make sure that that information gets shared with the board, but it is done.
Appreciate
So
it.
it's available. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Scott?
If I may, two things. We're having issues we have 4 public use airports in Collier County plus 1 private one. And the one that's in the city, we're having issues. They want to move it, they want to close it, big political deal. And their comment is, well, we got plenty of capacity up in Lee County, Page Field and RSW. And my point is, no, we really don't. So that's something that I think we should explore, because we're going to find more and more sentiment to either move or close some of these not designated as feeder airports, or reliever airports, but like Page Field. I think we're going to run into that at Page Field, and we're going to run into it at Naples and eventually Marco Island. So that's something we need to do, number one. Number two, when we're doing the parking stuff, as you probably know, I go to Salt Lake City frequently this time of year, just about every weekend. And the automobile parking facility there is the best I have seen. And I wish we could get somebody to go there and see it if you haven't already. It's a fantastic system. It's very user-friendly. I would be happy to host somebody to come and see it, because if we're gonna be expanding the parking, which obviously we are, I think it's worthy of taking a look at this system they have there. We had one fella in here who was doing a presentation, and he said they were involved in the parking system there, and I found out later on they really weren't. And I just think that we need to get somebody out there to look at it, if you haven't already. I don't know if anybody's been there.
Did you want to?
Yeah, you want to?
I would host somebody out there if need be.
Go ahead.
Hello. We love the opportunity you know, as part of the study and the work we've done is we have looked at various other projects, but lessons learned, the opportunity to go out, the suggestion is something we'll definitely take a look at and send some people out because especially those who've done it recently, like Salt Lake City, they've done a huge capital improvement program, much in line to what we're looking at doing. So I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, again, I would be happy to host somebody to come out there and see it.
Appreciate that. Do you know who that is?
Okay, any other comment? Yes, Greg, go ahead.
I was just wondering, we have so many different projects planned. Is there any kind of mechanism in place so that if you don't have the funding to do project A and you have funding for project B, how do you prioritize which project goes first?
That's that, whoop. Go way back.
Like the second slide, I think. Yeah.
That's how we do it. And that's why there's an airplane on that one. And that's what happens. You know, we'll have needs, concurrent needs, and then we'll get a $10 million grant. That's the one we're going forward with. We keep looking for other funding sources for the other two. They don't drop off the radar. But, you know, it depends on the funding source. You know, we've had a needs for our maintenance facility expansion for years now. And, you know, our maintenance team has done a great job just sucking it up, really. And we're to the point we can't suck it up anymore. So because that's 100% airport revenues, grants aren't eligible for that.
The greater
So,
need.
yeah, so that's why we update you every year on that. You may see projects shift forward, shift back. Very few shift off. But yeah, if we get a grant, which there's a lot of different pots of money out there. We get a grant that usually leapfrogs projects that we pay our own money until the point we can't sacrifice it anymore.
Okay, thanks.
All right, so at this time, I will ask for any public comment on the workshop or any other matters. Any other discussion? No other discussion? I see no further business in front of us. We are adjourned. Beautiful. Adjourned. Great job, Mr. Chairman.